How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason, and in today's video, we're going to be previewing Week 7 of the 2023 CFL season. Back to our 4 days a week type of schedule this week, and I'm excited to get into it this week. So kicking us off on Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the 0-6 Edmonton Elks visiting the 4-2 Winnipeg Blue Bombers in a matchup that looks very lopsided on paper, given what we've seen from the Elks this season and what we've seen from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But the Blue Bombers are coming off that big blown lead versus the Ottawa Redblacks, where they dominated 57 minutes of that game and let it slip away in the final few minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see if they bounce back in this one. The players I'm watching, the Edmonton Elks, I'm watching their entire offensive line. I think the offensive line has been such a weakness for this team over the past couple of years, but especially rearing its ugly head this year. I mean, I feel like they've kind of had a faulty team-building philosophy. I've kind of alluded to this before, where they've invested heavily in terms of the receivers, but not as much in the trenches on the offensive line, and I think it's really come back to bite them this year. If they're going to have any chance in this game, the offensive line has to protect Taylor Cornelius or whoever's back there at quarterback for the Elks. For Winnipeg, I'm going with wide receiver Kenny Lawler, who comes back to the lineup this week after dealing with like a passport visa issue, I do believe, the first few weeks this season. So it's good to have him back in the lineup versus his former team, the Edmonton Elks. So I think that could be a big difference for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers receiving core, and I think it could be a big difference maker going forward the rest of the season for that unit. Now, in terms of who's going to win this game, didn't really have any trouble with this one. I'm going to take Winnipeg to win 38-21 in a big bounce back effort. I don't see them playing that poorly 2 weeks in a row, and I don't really have any faith in the Edmonton Elks at this point. I don't know if I'll be picking them to win the rest of the season. I put my faith in them a couple times this season. I think it's 3 times I picked them this year, and they've obviously they haven't picked up a win yet, so I'm going to take Winnipeg to win this one. Next up, Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the 4-0 Toronto Argonauts visiting the 2-3 Hamilton TigerCats, and should be very interesting in this game. The TigerCats, of course, starting Taylor Powell at quarterback, his first career CFL start, so we'll be interesting to see how he does in this one. Very lopsided matchup on paper going into this one, seeing as what we saw in week 2 when these two teams played, but this game is going to be in Hamilton. Hamilton usually plays them a little bit better at Tim Hortons Field. The players I'm watching in this one, wide receiver DeMonte Coxey for the Toronto Argonauts. This guy is a breakout star this season. Big-bodied receiver, can make big contested catches, can even get vertical down the field with a good amount of speed. I mean, just a big playmaker for that offense, and Toronto just is so good at finding these guys. So he's a breakout star this CFL season. And then for Hamilton, I'm looking at Jameer Thurman, linebacker, who's had a very good impact on that TigerCats defense so far this season. Just a really rangy linebacker, very much a versatile linebacker that can come on the blitz, drop back into coverage, and I think if the TigerCats have any chance to win this game, I think the defense really has to step up in a significant way. Now, in terms of who's going to win this game, I mean, I made a video a couple weeks ago about how the TigerCats have struggled to beat the Argos in recent years. Usually they beat them about once a year over the last couple of years here, and I don't know if it's going to be this game. I think maybe Labor Day is the game that they probably get them this year, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'm going to take the Toronto Argonauts to win 23-13 in this one. Just don't trust the rookie quarterback making his first career start. I mean, Argos technically have a first-year starting quarterback, but Chad Kelly is definitely not looking like that so far this season. So I'm going to take the 4-0 Toronto Argonauts to win this one. Now moving on to Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the 3-2 Saskatchewan Roughriders visiting the 4-1 BC Lions. And this should be a very interesting game because this is another case of a backup quarterback making a start here. Mason Fine, this is not going to be his first start in the CFL. Got a couple starts late last year versus Calgary, I do believe. But it'll be interesting to see how he takes the reins of this offense, compared to how he played at the end of last week coming off the bench. Kind of a different scenario when teams can prepare for you. So Mason Fine is my guy to watch for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in this one. And I think that one thing to watch with him is his legs. I think anytime you have an inexperienced quarterback, it always helps to have a guy that can run around back there and, elude pressure. Saskatchewan's offensive line showing some cracks in the armor over the past couple of weeks after a pretty good start to the season. So very interested to see how Fine plays in this one against a very good BC Lions defense. And then for BC, my player to watch is defensive back Gary Peters, who I think may be able to bait Fine into a couple of interceptions in this one. One of the league's best ball hawks back there. And again, that BC defense and secondary playing very, very well this season. In terms of who's going to win this game, I think it may be closer than what I predict is the final score here, but the score I'm predicting here is 28-16 for the BC Lions in this one. I just don't, again, trust the inexperienced quarterback going on the road and winning this game, and I think BC's defense is just too good to let this happen. I think they are coming off a bye week as well, so that probably is working in their favor as well. So I'm going to take BC to win this game and go to 5-1. And then our last game of the week is arguably the game of the week, which nobody would have said before last week's events. But what happened last week, I think this is the game of the week. We have the 2-3 Ottawa Redblacks visiting the 2-3 Calgary Stampeders at 7 p.m. Eastern on Sunday night. And I think in terms of this game, it's going to be interesting to see what team has a letdown after a big dramatic win last week. Obviously, Ottawa with the big comeback, Calgary with the last-second field goal to beat Saskatchewan in Regina. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what team has that big emotional letdown. I think it's pretty often in these cases that you see that happen. And in terms of players to watch in this one, I'm going with defensive back Brandon Dandridge for the Ottawa Redblacks. He's having a great season back there as both a defensive back and a kick returner. Obviously had the big pick 6 last week and then also had a big kick return touchdown earlier this season as well. So he's a playmaker back there in the secondary, and I think he's an early candidate to be a CFL All-Star. And then for Calgary, I'm going with wide receiver / kick returner Tommy Lee Lewis, who made his CFL debut last week. The cool story with him is that Calgary actually had him on their negotiation list for 7 years, so they waited a long time to get this guy to the CFL. But you saw that punt return touchdown that got called back last week, and the electricity that he brought to the lineup there. And I think he's a guy that's going to bring a lot of excitement on a week-to-week basis for this Calgary team. And I think this is a team that absolutely needed it after their slow start offensively this season. So we'll see how much he gets involved on offense versus how much he's used in the return game, but I'm really looking forward to watching him going forward. In terms of who's going to win this game, I really struggled with it. I think it could really go either way. I think either team could carry positive momentum after what happened last week, but ultimately, I'm going to go with the Stampeders and the experience that they have on their side at the head coaching position, overall on the roster. I'm going to take them to win 24-21. Last-second field goal by Rene Paredes gets them over the top again, and ultimately, Calgary evens the record up at 500 at 3-3. But with that said, that is just your preview for Week 7 of the 2023 CFL season. Be sure to let me know your picks down below, and with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.